How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 12 Chapter 7. This is Season 12 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Episode 7. In this episode we will be discussing the social contract of the state and linking it to our discussion in the last podcast. The democratic state exists because of a much larger social contract, of the same kind as explained in the previous podcast. In this social contract there are expectations on individual citizens, created by the mandate of the law. The origination of this social contract begins at the age of majority through the consent of the governed, manifested in the voting process. Voluntary participation in the voting process translates the non-consensual closed social system of the family into the consensual reality of the democratic state. But just as the removal of privileges post-consent represents the vitiation of that consent to the social contract between two individuals in an intimate relationship, so too does it eliminate the consensual reality of the governed. In other words, the gradual erosion of individual liberties represents the transformation of the consensual reality of the state into one which is akin to one created by coercive pressure or force. The evolution of the law within the state, common or civil, depending on system, manifests the guidelines for the elimination of privileges within the state. For example, the liberty of individuals with regards to their opinions and expression may be circumscribed to the extent that the constitutional rights are attenuated. Thus, the denial of privileges as set out in the social contract may be dictated by the erosion of those liberties by the constitutional legal framework of the state. For example, in an earlier podcast I discussed how vaccine mandates through the violation of those liberties represent the conversion of a consensual reality to a non-consensual one. By and large in democratic countries the retrenchment of civil liberties further to in public health policy framework through the pandemic represents the erection of an invasive security apparatus under the guise of healthcare. The tentacles of the state are pressing deeply into the institutions of the state including the family, by imposing power, top-down, through the elimination of social privileges further to the enforcement of a policy of what can only be described as delegitimization of non-sanctioned dissent. The delegitimization of individual opinions which run afoul of basic social conventions ensures the perpetuation of this power structure. It follows from examples given in previous podcasts that identity is multifaceted, multidimensional, variegated, permitting archetypal assignments further to a subordinated hierarchy. This permits the inclusion of others implicated by this hierarchical power structure within the security apparatus of the state. Individuals may lack the self-awareness to know that they are acting out of deference, further to the unconscious desires of those archetypically senior to them. They may be unaware they are acting out the manifestation narratives of others. Typically, these public health officers within the security apparatus act as handlers, receiving and transmitting information, while doing so outside the conscious perceptions of their charges. In effect, it is as if we all work for the state, actioning its program of delegitimization as case handlers for each other, through the preferential accession of hierarchical archetypes. This of course does not occur within the plane or our observation but within the planes beyond them, within folds in time, through our absence. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe.